What's going on, everyone? Blake Wright's back. All right. Yes, I am coming to you live pre-night shift. I will be on the road here in the beautiful neighborhood of, I'm going to actually not say the neighborhood, but I'm in Atlanta right now and we're making it happen. And I just want to say hello, and I'm back, and I'm excited to be here. I want to give you a little bit of a checkup on myself, like I was the physician and the patient at the same time, seeing as I've been kind of MIA for a few months. Um, so, thanks for tuning in again. What's been up with me? Well, I went to, I've had a lot of creative stuff been going on recently, and a lot of, I guess you would call it just everyday life going on. And it's taken me away from creating these little video logs to check in on every once in a while and show some tips and spread some knowledge. But um, I've been acting a lot. I traveled out of state to back to Maine for a short horror film festival and it was with Whiskey Wolf Media up there, and the film won a lot of awards, and I was honored to walk away with the second place award for Best Actor, so that felt good. Shortly after that, I went to Florida for a supporting role in a Lifetime Movie Network film. Can't wait to see that one come out. That should be fun. Looks good. And I'll be back on the stage this August 22nd through the 24th at the Georgia Ensemble Theater. I will be playing Algernon Moncrief in The Importance of Being Earnest, and it is so funny because the first play I ever did was The Importance of Being Earnest, and I did that in 2018, where I played Jack, and I moved back to Maine from North Carolina at the time, left acting studio and went to college for theater, and it's just so funny because I was one of those actors at first that said, I'm never going to do plays. I'm only going to do movies. Caught the bug and, went to a theater program to get some training and at least get a degree in it. And still never really took the leap, but we were all forced to audition for the play, and I auditioned for it and I got the lead, and it was a great moment. One of the best shows I've done to date. And I think that this show is going to be just as good in its own special way. And I'm loving playing the character, but the parallels are so interesting. Move back to Maine a couple months later, 7 months later, get cast in The Importance of Being Earnest. Move to Atlanta several months later, first play, The Importance of Being Earnest. So it feels like someone up there is watching me, and it's kind of, you can't make this up sometimes. So I'm grateful. And before all that, I went to the Atlanta Film Festival this year, and I do have a lot of information I want to share about my experience and some of my thoughts about what I learned there. But that'll be for another video. So I'm doing all this stuff, right? And I'm just trying to, go with the flow. I'm not trying to be perfect necessarily. I'm not trying to think of it as winning and losing. And it's funny because when I was younger, I used to think of everything as like, I got to win. I got to fight. I got to do this. And as I'm getting a little bit older and wiser and hopefully a little bit more mature, I'm seeing that you need to let go of trying to do everything perfect and let go of, your unrealistic expectations at times if you're somebody who wants to be high achieving, and just be in the process. So that's kind of why I want to bring up something I've been trying to practice in my everyday life, because I've been writing music, but I've not really been, on the grind as much as possible. For those who don't know, I typically do that as a daily creative exercise. but being in the play and auditioning for stuff, and I have a shoot actually, I have another film shoot coming up August 4th. So that's another thing, it's just crazy stuff, the amount that's happening right now. I'm feeling blessed, but I'm also feeling like I need to scratch my creative itch and get my exercise in like I would be doing, biceps or something at the gym. So there needs to be a time to do that, and there needs to be something that you look at as flexing that creative muscle. And for that for me was music. But back in Maine, I did visit one of my old college professors, Mr. Andrew Harris, and he gave me a bunch of books. And he gave me this book called Improvisation in the Theater. And it's a lot of great principles that are about cultivating creativity and avoiding perfection, avoiding approval, avoiding, creating good art rather than just being creative. It's just about creating and enjoying the experience. And Andrew used to always say something when we were in college, and it was called he just said, just jump. Just jump, just give it your best shot. Just play. Take the blinders off. Get rid of the barrier of trying to be good and bad and just do it. Access that freedom, vocal, emotional, character freedom, and that is going to help you grow as an artist, because this is all about just growing as a person. In order for an artist to be an effective artist, they need to grow as a person, which requires setting goals, beating fears, living life, practicing kindness, gratitude, patience, feeling their pain, feeling their sadness, feeling their anger, understanding it, and turning it into art. And that means going on a four-wheeling trip, or going to hike this Sweetwater Creek or whatever, or Acadia National Park. It means doing things. It means going out and, having another drink. It means going out and, I'm not saying if you're an alcoholic, that's not what I'm saying at all, but it means going out and living life. And then relaying what you've lived or what you've experienced or what you wish you could have experienced in, a brand new medium that is of your choice. And I think that in a world where you got a lot to do and you got lines to remember and auditions to do, and all you want to do is make a song and all you want to do is cut loose, you got to find a way to scratch that itch. So how do we do this? Well, first we got to understand where this starts. We go to school. And we constantly are getting graded. Keith Johnstone talks about in the book when he left theater school after going to high school and went to college and stuff. And he talks about how he lost his creative magic. So he decided to go be a teacher. And the first day of teacher college up there in England at the time, he had this professor that essentially was like, I want you to take this white piece of paper and this black paint and paint as if a monkey was going over it with a unicycle. And this guy, he's like, I don't know how can you tell, how can you have art in that? How can you have creative, he's like, how can I show that I'm a good artist by making lines? Well, they continue the exercise and he's getting frustrated, and the teacher pulls out other paintings. And, you know, they're amazing. They're the patterns are nothing that he's ever seen before. And, they've moved on from the monkey exercise and went to just another go of paintings. And he's like, I've never seen these patterns before. I've never um seen the color schemes, like where are these like ideas and shapes coming from. And the professor goes, these were all done by 8-year-olds. And I said, just paint, just create. Here are the colors, free paint. And they're like, wow, it's so original. And it started to click with him that everything he was taught was to um grow his discipleship muscle, where the teacher says, no, this is how you cut this. This is how you color that. This is what the colors need to be here. And he realizes that there's got to be more freedom for creativity to come out. So he talks about how he goes on a little bit of a journey to figure this out. And he talks about how he notices that, you know, that the imagination of children can scare kids. Think about the monster under the bed. But he realizes that art is essentially perspective and balance and composition. And all that can be designed and redesigned and reshaped and turned and twisted. And the world tells us what to see, but there's more to what is there. And it's possible to see more details if we look past thought. And creatives see the world past thought. Imitators make what they think creatives are, making. The moon steals its light from the sun, but everyone knows the difference. Now, I'm not talking that we can't steal a little bit from, inspiration and design and this piece was inspired by this and that was. Everyone does that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about creating something with no soul and expecting it to fulfill you is like it's like going to McDonald's when and expecting the effect of a 5-star dinner with a steak, at a nice steakhouse. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that the audience knows what I'm trying to say. So he goes on to this, I really recommend the book, but everything in his life he realized was designed to suppress spontaneity, and he wants to develop it. So that's why he changes his whole thing and goes into the theater, and is trying to help his students not correct themselves. He didn't want to live in a world where he thought adults were superior to children, and he realizes that inspiration isn't intellectual, and you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to. What is perfect? It is an unattainable thing. We are not perfect. Nothing is going to be right on its first time. And society has created this fear of failure mentality in people. And improv was the way that he found himself out of it. So that's kind of the nutshell of the first couple chapters. But I want to just talk a little bit about how you can use this in your solo, activities or just to meditate on. My number one piece of advice for growing creativity is to just write a 6-line poem every single day. And it can be whatever. It doesn't have to be good, just as long as you did it. And you will find that the compounding interest of that poem will ignite your imagination. My second piece of advice is when you wake up in the morning, try to write down your dreams. You can also use some improv exercises like the character mirror. You just go in front of the mirror and pretend you're a character and give a improv monologue about something and just play. And, another thing you can do is just, set a timer for a minute, make up a complete story on the fly. Beginning, middle, and end. That's it. Record it. If it's good, write it down. Explore it. And just find a way to do these exercises daily and keep them simple. And you can grow your creativity and grow your imagination. And what I've been trying to do is get back to writing the 6-line poem because my true desire is to write songs and record a song a day like I was doing for a while. But I'm also just one man, and I also have to work my way back to it after not doing it for probably, almost 2 months of that sort of routine. But the whole point is to just play and just try and just do it. And then it'll compound. All right. I know it was a little bit of rambling, but I wanted to make a video for you guys. So peace out. I appreciate it. Bye.